So, we've been very blessed. We've had the same crew for 13 years. And so everybody I work with is very close to Frank.
When they first came to film with us, Frank and I were the ones who had made the deal with them. And they said, "Who is she? What does she do here?" I replied, "Oh, she works for me." But they insisted, "No deal with her. We're not filming her." At that moment, Danielle Colby was once the life and soul of American Pickers, but now she's facing trial in a shocking case that has rocked the nation. Her fall from grace, amid a shocking crime spree, marks one of the biggest scandals in reality TV history. The elaborate plot involving the death of her longtime friend, Frank Fritz, has not only stunned her fans but also the entire TV industry. What led Danielle, once a beloved icon, to transform into a cold-hearted mastermind? Why did Frank Fritz, whom she considered family, become the victim of this conspiracy? And why, after everything that's happened, is Mike Wolfe standing up and accusing Danielle of being behind it all? Join us as we explore the truth behind these accusations and uncover never-before-seen secrets of a TV legend who once had the world watching. In court, Danielle Colby transitioned from a witness to a suspect in the murder trial. Initially, she appeared as a neutral witness for the prosecution, trying to avoid tensions between the two men who had formed a bromance on reality TV. However, as the investigation expanded and shocking new evidence emerged, her name became a target, prompting the FBI to intervene. The case began in December 2024, when a Davenport, Iowa courtroom filled with people as the murder trial of American Picker star Mike Wolfe began. Mike was accused of killing his co-worker, Frank Fritz, who died on October 1, 2024. Initially, Frank's death was attributed to a stroke, but later, suspicions of poisoning began to surface. The nation was stunned, and the shock was compounded when Danielle Colby, a close friend of both men, was called as a key witness. Her testimony, along with fierce arguments from both legal teams, turned the trial into a media firestorm, exposing the dark side of the relationship between the three. The investigation into Frank's death began in October 2024 when the FBI searched Mike Wolfe's home and found Frank's diary, which hinted at Mike's motive for the murder. Alongside it, agents discovered a vial of nerve agent hidden in a safe. Lead prosecutor Sarah Harov, with more than 20 years of experience in the legal profession, started making her case. She argued that Mike poisoned Frank to prevent an impending financial lawsuit and to protect the American Picker brand. Mike Wolfe is more than just a TV star, Harov said. He was a man who would do anything to keep control. We will prove that he deliberately poisoned Frank Fritz, whom he once called his brother, to cover up his own greed. Although Frank's death had initially been ruled as a stroke, evidence like the nerve agent in his blood, coded messages between Mike and Danielle Colby, and a $175,000 wire transfer raised suspicions of premeditated murder. Danielle, a longtime associate of both men, became a key witness in the case. However, a surprising moment in her testimony would completely change the course of the case, placing her directly in the center of the investigation. Harov presented text messages recovered from a backup server that Danielle had sent just hours before Frank was found unconscious. One of the messages read, "He is alone at the moment. No one is scheduled to check on him until tomorrow. The window is closed." Mike replied, "It's been taken care of. Delete this thread." Harov claimed, these messages show a well-thought-out plan to get rid of Frank Fritz. The prosecutor also pointed out a $175,000 transfer from one of Mike's shell companies to Danielle, which Danielle called hush money. Harov concluded, Mike Wolfe, with the support of Danielle Colby, planned to poison his friend to protect their American Pickers empire. Mike Wolfe's defense team, led by prominent Chicago attorney Jonathan Kessler, vigorously contested the charges. He argued that the text messages were garbled and insufficient to prove criminal intent. Kessler asserted that the $175,000 transfer was a legitimate business transaction involving American Pickers accounts. Mike Wolfe is being targeted by a smear campaign to destroy his reputation, Kessler said. Danielle Colby, who has known Mike for years, is being manipulated into testifying against him. We will prove Mike's innocence. The courtroom fell silent when prosecutor Harov revealed that a vial of nerve agent had been found in Mike's garage, a substance banned for civil use. However, Kessler responded calmly, stating, "Your Honor, my client is a professional antiques collector. We've verified with experts that the vial was part of a medical kit from an earlier era. There is no evidence that the vial was opened, no trace of Frank Fritz's DNA, and no signs of recent tampering. This link is pure speculation or worse, prejudice. Kessler also presented tax records and photos from 2016 showing that Mike had proudly displayed his collection of historical pharmaceuticals in a deleted episode. Mike is a history buff, not a poisoner. As the jury began to waver, Danielle Colby returned to the stand on the fourth day. She appeared nervous, her voice trembling. Guided by prosecutor Harov, she described the change in Mike's behavior after Frank left the show in 2021. Mike became obsessed with being the sole face of American Pickers, she said, tears welling up. When I suggested that I fix the relationship with Frank, he got angry and said, if Frank doesn't back down, I'll make sure he shuts up forever. I don't think he meant it, but after Frank died, I started to feel scared. Danielle admitted that she had seen Mike carrying an unknown bottle of medicine into the antiquities office but claimed she didn't know it was poison. During cross-examination, Kessler attacked her credibility. He pointed to more than 200 text messages she exchanged with Mike in the week leading up to Frank's death, many of which discussed Frank's medications and schedule. Miss Colby, why didn't you report that bottle to the police if you were suspicious? He asked, also pointing to the $175,000 transaction and her subsequent purchase of property in Puerto Rico, implying she had been paid to keep quiet. Danielle responded, I don't know about any scheme. I'm just sharing what I saw because I owe Frank the truth. The money was for business, nothing else. Then, a mix-up occurred when prosecutor Harov asked Danielle if she had handled Frank's medication the day before he died. Danielle hesitated and then replied, I just checked to make sure he was taking the right dose. Sometimes he forgets. I know exactly what he was taking and how much. The courtroom gasped. This moment led people to suspect that Danielle might have known the exact dosage of Frank's medication, which was entirely consistent with how poison could be administered. Harov pressed, Miss Colby, how could you know the exact dosage unless you intentionally changed and denied all charges? You gave this information to Mike. He turned his attention to Danielle, his voice filled with anger. I just wanted to help. I did not kill Frank. This inadvertent confession opened a separate FBI investigation into her role in the incident. She always said Frank was a burden and that the show would be better off without him. She forced me to delete the messages between us so no one would know she was stalking Frank. Mike continued to claim that Danielle had asked him to bring the vial into the office and that the $175,000 was her agreement to keep quiet about shady business dealings behind the scenes. Mike's testimony cast great doubt in the courtroom and among the public about Danielle's true motives. Minutes later, Judge Linda Mangrove made a shocking announcement: this court will adjourn for further oral arguments. Witness Danielle Colby is now under formal investigation as a second suspect in this murder case. The case grew even more complicated when the FBI turned its attention to Danielle. After the trial in November 2024, the FBI launched an extensive investigation into her. Danielle's shocking testimony in court, in which she revealed intricate details about Frank's drugs, coupled with Mike's assertion that she was the real culprit, led the FBI to search Danielle's home in Davenport, Iowa. Just 48 hours after the trial ended, the FBI obtained a search warrant for Danielle's home under the direction of Special Agent Emily Rivera, an expert in financial crimes and homicide. The raid took place early in the morning when a team of FBI agents and local police officers sealed off the area and conducted a thorough search of Danielle's personal office, where she kept business records for American Pickers and documents related to her vintage clothing store and stripper crew. The agents discovered an encrypted hard drive containing surveillance footage from security cameras near Frank's home on the night of his death, October 1, 2024. A thorough analysis showed that Danielle had accessed and retrieved the footage from the security company before it was turned over to the police, an action investigators believed was an attempt to conceal evidence. Agent Rivera noted that Danielle's actions were not consistent with an innocent witness. After decoding and enhancing the video footage, crucial evidence emerged that implicated her. A surveillance camera near Frank's home showed Danielle driving to his house at approximately 10:30 p.m. on October 1, just hours before he was found unconscious. She was seen entering the home through the back door, carrying a small bag, and leaving about 15 minutes later. Enhanced software revealed that the bag. Mike Wolf's claims painted a disturbing picture. he alleged that Danielle Colby not only had keys to Frank's house but also managed offshore accounts tied to the show's finances. "I was just a pawn in her game," he confessed, his voice filled with regret. These details further supported the theory that Danielle had meticulously and strategically manipulated the entire situation. Financial evidence uncovered by the FBI deepened suspicions against her. Investigators found that she controlled several offshore accounts and had received a staggering $3.22 million in suspicious transactions connected to American pickers. Among them was a $450,000 withdrawal made just days before Frank Fritz's death. A subsequent financial audit revealed that Danielle had transferred a portion of those funds to a personal account in Puerto Rico, where she purchased a luxury property shortly after the incident. Prosecutor Sarah Harrov addressed the court forcefully, asserting that Danielle not only framed Mike but also carefully plotted to eliminate Frank, seize control of the show's finances, and shift the blame elsewhere. She used her feminist image as a shield to hide her dark crimes, Harrov said. The damning evidence collected from Danielle's home strengthened the case against her and even opened up the possibility of reconsidering Mike Wolf's legal situation, creating an unexpected twist in an already complex legal saga. Although Danielle Colby continues to face charges of financial misconduct, the case has dramatically shifted, with her now at the center as the prime suspect in Frank Fritz's death. Her upcoming trial is expected to bring more shocking revelations. The dynamic between Danielle, Frank, and Mike had once been a key appeal of American Pickers, the hit reality show that chronicled their antique hunting adventures. Frank and Mike were the on-the-road pickers, while Danielle managed the business and archaeological aspects. Together, they appeared as a close-knit team, bringing charm and chemistry to screens nationwide. But beneath that public image lay a darker truth, one that had apparently been unraveling since as far back as 2018. According to a former production assistant, tensions began when Frank started suffering from serious health issues, including chronic back pain and Crohn's disease. Danielle reportedly began subtly undermining him, telling Mike that the show would be more profitable if he were the sole star. She leveraged her influence with the production team to gradually reduce Frank's screen time, using his health as justification for sidelining him. Behind the scenes, Danielle also advised Mike to maintain a distant relationship with Frank to preserve the show's image. In 2020, the FBI discovered a coded message from Danielle to Mike stating, "Frank needs to stay in Iowa. He needs to shine. I'll handle the rest." Though uncomfortable, Mike reportedly went along with her suggestions due to pressure from Danielle and the producers. By 2021, Danielle was orchestrating Frank's complete removal from the show. Secret meetings were held with Mike and producers, where Danielle insisted that Frank no longer aligned with the show's new direction, which focused on shorter trips and dynamic content. In a heartbreaking entry found in Frank's diary following his death, he wrote, "Danielle whispers. Every time I come in, I feel like an outsider in my own show." Frank was officially removed from American Pickers in July 2021, with health reasons cited as the cause. But behind the scenes, the FBI found growing evidence that Danielle was the driving force behind his removal. In a 2025 interrogation, a visibly shaken Mike admitted, "Losing Frank was the most painful thing in my life. I let Danielle run everything because I thought she was right. But I was wrong." His sorrow only deepened when Danielle began pressuring him to sign over ownership of the American Pickers brand. By 2022, she was managing finances at Antique Archaeology, overseeing significant transactions. Investigators later discovered $3.2 million in transfers to offshore accounts, money linked to suspicious deals involving the show. According to the FBI, Danielle allegedly threatened to expose these transactions if Mike refused to sign over the brand. Danielle's thirst for control from 2023 added to the chilling narrative. She began dominating the show's on-screen presence, Mike curating antiquities discoveries to be exposed, her profile and promoting her vintage clothing business. Just days later, Mike signed a 2023 and Danielle received a $175,000 payment from one of Mike's shell companies. "You'll be next if you don't listen to me." Of a hush-hush agreement. These threats isolated Mike, leaving him in fear and emotionally cornered. In February 2025, Danielle's trial captured national attention as she faced direct accusations in Frank's murder. Initially, the investigation focused on Mike, but mounting evidence shifted the spotlight squarely onto Danielle. Over the course of the 3-week trial, the jury heard disturbing details about her manipulation, isolation tactics, and the chilling plot that led to Frank's death. Prosecutor Harov presented Danielle as a cold and calculating figure who orchestrated the entire crime to consolidate power over the show. Enhanced surveillance footage placed Danielle at Frank's home the night he died. She was seen injecting him with a substance, later confirmed to be a nerve agent, before leaving. She then returned to the security company to delete the footage and delivered the glass vial used in the crime to Mike's home, attempting to frame him. Danielle's defense team, led by Margaret Wilson, argued that the evidence was tampered with, but the forensic data proved otherwise. When Danielle took the stand, she was visibly shaken. She denied the accusations, claiming she had merely checked on Frank and that the bottle she carried was a gift for Mike. But when Prosecutor Harov produced a handwritten note detailing the poison's dosage, matched to Danielle's handwriting, she went silent. The most devastating blow came from a series of coded messages between Danielle and Mike, including one that read, "Don't open the vial." Mike's testimony was a powerful turning point. He shared how Danielle had manipulated him for years, pushing him to cut ties with Frank. "Danielle told me Frank was a burden," he sobbed. "I listened because I was afraid of losing everything. But I lost Frank, my brother." Mike also confirmed the vial found in his home was placed there by Danielle, and he had no knowledge of its contents. His testimony reinforced the prosecution's argument that Danielle was driven by ambition and greed. Frank's sister, Lisa Fritz, added emotional weight to the proceedings, saying, "Frank trusted Danielle like a family member. She betrayed him." Lisa also shared that Frank had confided in her about feeling uneasy when Danielle and Mike met privately, which made him suspicious of their intentions. Jason Miller, a former American Pickers cameraman, also testified, revealing that Danielle once tore pages out of Frank's notebook under the guise of protecting him. He recalled an intense argument in 2021, where Danielle said, "Frank is the show's biggest problem." But it was the forensic evidence that ultimately sealed Danielle's fate. The FBI found her fingerprints and traces of the nerve agent on a pill bottle recovered from her home, along with a handwritten note detailing the method of poisoning, directly contradicting her sworn testimony. The financial trail was equally damning. Records revealed 3 payments totaling $2 million from shadowy sources, including a $450,000 withdrawal shortly before Frank's death. After 3 days of jury deliberations, the verdict was delivered on February 28, 2025. Danielle Colby was found guilty of first-degree murder, obstruction of justice, and wire fraud. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom fell silent as Danielle, pale and emotionless, was led away in handcuffs. Members of the Fritz family hugged each other in tears, while fans around the world reacted with outrage and heartbreak. Hashtags like #JusticeForFrank and #DanielleGuilty trended globally within 48 hours, with over 3 million posts pouring in. While a small group of supporters claimed she had been framed, the overwhelming consensus was one of betrayal and disbelief. Mike Wolfe, after enduring immense personal loss, donated $500,000 to the Crohn's Disease Foundation in Frank's honor. He also announced plans to open a small museum in Iowa to showcase the antiques he and Frank had discovered together.